by the Reverend Wilbert Awdry during his time in Wisbech. They were written for his son Christopher, and Christopher took over the writing of the series as he obviously grew up. Now, in the summer, he's discussing his life in a one-off show at the Hammersmith Apollo. Pete Waterman, beloved rail enthusiast, is going to be hosting it. It's called 85 Years of Letting Off Steam. I know many people will be getting tickets for that reason alone. Christopher, thank you so much for being with us. It's lovely to talk to the little boy that grew up in Wisbech that inspired this iconic, beloved series.
Well, yes, in actual fact, the whole thing started when Father was a curate at King's Norton in Birmingham.
Right.
But, you know, some of the stories, many of the stories were written in Wisbech. And so, yes, it's been a dynasty that's gone on.
Did you think when you were a little boy, because of course these stories were written for you when you were incredibly ill with measles, I suppose you couldn't have foreseen then that the impact that Thomas would have on the world?
No, certainly not. Certainly Father didn't, and I wasn't really conscious enough to appreciate the moment. But Father never did. When the stories were published, at my mother's prompting, in 1945, the first 20,000 print ran out, was sold out in about 3 weeks, I believe, and it must have been about then that it hit Father that he'd actually created a golden buzzer.
Well, we've had a message in from Cheryl, who lives in Bar Hill, which is part of Cambridge, and she says her son is called Toby, after Toby the tram engine. He's 44 this year, and they used to read these stories together. Those must be lovely stories for you to hear, Christopher.
Yes, they were. They still are. Yes, it's strange that you should have chosen Toby, actually, because he became my favourite engine.
Yeah.
And has stayed that way.
And what do you think it was? Because, you know, this was huge in my family. My dad loves trains. I'm not bothered, but I still love Thomas the Tank Engine. What is it about Thomas and his friends and the Fat Controller that has meant so much to people?
The engines were created as they might be children. Mm-hmm. They behave like children. And I think that's what appeals to many youngsters, because they're their own age, as it were. The impression that is created in a young mind is of someone who might live just down the road.
Yeah.
And behaves as a school children, what a friend at school might do, and they appreciate that. I think they don't realise that they're appreciating it, but I believe they do.
So in the summer, in June, at the Hammersmith Apollo, you're having sort of an evening with you and Pete Waterman. It's called 85 Years of Letting Off Steam. 85 years, that's a lot to get into one evening. Are you working with Pete? Are you working with Pete to narrow things down and be able to squeeze it all into 2.5 hours?
Well, several of us are, yes. But it's going to be a fun-filled night with never seen or heard before treats.
And what does your time in Wisbech mean to you? What memories do you have of our area?
Well, I left Wisbech in crumbs a long time ago, anyhow. Would be 1959, when I went to work in London, and after that in Peterborough. So I don't remember very much in Wisbech. I certainly probably wouldn't recognise the place if I went there now.
Well, thank you so much, Christopher, for coming on to share your memories. I'm sure there'll be lots of people flocking to the Hammersmith Apollo in June to share that evening with you. Thank you for bringing us Thomas, or for carrying on his legacy, because it means so much to so many of us. Thank you so much to Christopher Awdry.